Cowboy fans, what's good? You are now rocking with the best. You see us on the screen. We looking good. We looking clean. It's Believing Cowboys presented by FanDuel. That man next to me is Jesse Holly. I am Ro Parrish. Cowboys. It ain't Dallas if it ain't dramatic. The 24 points unanswered. They get the victory against the defending Super Bowl champions. 24-21 on the last second field goal game, filled with ups and downs, a lot of drama, this and that. Tell the two halves, but the Cowboys get to win the fifth victory of the season. They are now 5-1, knocking off Philadelphia at the crib. So we always start the show, Jesse Holly, you, my friend, you get the first word.
Wow. Right? Like that was the overarching thought process when that game ended was wow. Talk about the tale of two halves. The Cowboys all but gave the game away in the first quarter, going down 21-0. And if we're keeping it a buck, and we keep it a buck on this show, if you are a fan and you were watching that game and you said that you thought after that 21-0 opening start to that game that the Cowboys were going to win that game, I'm probably calling you a liar. A lot of people probably were sitting in this game like, well, I guess it was just the Raiders. But the good thing about it is we are watching the game at home and the Cowboys are playing the game on the field, and they never stopped believing. They continued to fight, to claw, to eye gouge, and they got themselves back into the game, scored right before the half. And the Cowboy team that came out at the beginning of the football team and the Cowboy team that came out in the second half of the football game, two totally different teams, night and day. And, man, they walked down the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champion, the team that was on a 5-game winning streak, who had the best record in the league, who were number one in the East, number one in the conference, walked them down and walked out of AT&T victorious. And it was the wow is what comes to my mind. Wow was what I said. It was an emotional roller coaster, and there were so many good things that came out of that football game. And I want to be the first to sit here and say, because I'm a man, and I'm 41, but I am going to stand here today and tell you, Ro Parrish, and tell the people, Ro Parrish, I concede. George Pickens is the number one receiver on this offense. He is having an all-out monstrous season this year with the Cowboys. Now, I can sit here and say that he is having a great season. If the passing offense needs to be ran through him right now, by all means. He is the guy. He is the dog. He's the alpha right now. But the hill that I will die on, now this hill I am not coming off of, and I will die on. What people will not get me to falter from is you cannot tell me, yes, George Pickens is having an absolute monstrous season. He is having a better season to date than CeeDee Lamb on this Dallas Cowboys football team. But there's no way you move me off the mountain of he's the overall better receiver. I have 5 years of watching CeeDee Lamb tear up this league and be talked about in the conversation of being one of the best receivers in this league. George Pickens was never in that conversation. And he's in Pittsburgh, and whatever it is in Pittsburgh is in Pittsburgh. But for 5 seasons, for a half a decade, it was Chase, Jefferson, Lamb, Adams, Tyreek Hill. Those were the dudes in the conversation of the best wide receivers in the league for the last half decade. I concede George Pickens is the dude today, 100%. And right now, he is playing himself into a monstrous contract. Whether it's from the Cowboys or somewhere else, he is playing free. He is playing just lights out football. So I can come here today, and I'm not a stubborn dude, and I can tell you today, George Pickens is the number one option on this football team, and the passing offense should go through him.
Okay. I'm glad that you put that out there because I was wondering, now that you've delivered that soliloquy, I texted you during the game and I specifically said George Pickens is the number one, and it's not even close. So, with everything that you just delivered to our audience, we appreciate you watching, liking, subscribing. I was like, how come he ain't ever text me back? But now that I've listened to what you have to say, you were like, okay, I'm gonna hold it. I'm gonna save it for the show. So I ain't mad at you.
Yeah. I was letting the rest of the game play out, and I said, I'll save it for the show. I'll save it for the show.
Well, listen, I agree with you, and we know in the NFL, it comes down to two things. When you're being compensated, when you're being paid, sometimes you are paid for your potential, and then sometimes you are paid for your production. Now, you cannot argue with what CeeDee Lamb has done, as you mentioned him, with the best names as far as pass catchers go in the NFL, whether it be Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. You mentioned Cheetah, and CeeDee Lamb has been right there. However, we know in the NFL, it's all about what have you done for me lately. And we've seen guys, I'm not going to mention names, but we've seen guys who've been at the top and then all of a sudden they drop and they're not the same player for whatever reason. It could be injury, it could be whatever, it could be anything, it could be a number of reasons. But right now, CeeDee Lamb is wide receiver number 2 behind George Pickens because, I mean, you can't argue with the production. And George Pickens does not drop balls, dog. Like, when you are a wide receiver, and you know this because you played the position at the highest level, you are in the 1%, you are paid to catch the rock. And when you are paid upwards of 40, 50 million, whatever the number is, dog, the basic thing, you can't drop the ball when it hits your hands. And it started back against the Raiders. The last game, Monday Night Football, Dak probably could have set the record, would have set the record with 5 touchdowns. CeeDee drops that out route down near the goal line. Edward Scissorhands, and I don't know if that's carried over, but something is not right with number 88.
No, you're absolutely right. No argument from me. And what I think, honestly, this is just my personal opinion, and I'm no psychologist. I'm no anything. I'm a student of the game. I've been around the game. I understand how sometimes your mental can get the best of you. And I think CeeDee Lamb is battling. How can I put this? I believe that CeeDee Lamb is really cool and like enjoys playing alongside George Pickens, with George Pickens, however you want to address it. I believe that they're cool. I believe that they found a kinship, a brotherhood, and George Pickens coming over here, CeeDee Lamb welcoming him. I do think they boys. I 100% believe that. But I think the athlete and the competitor of CeeDee Lamb is chasing. I think he's pressing. I think and what a lot of people may not realize when it comes to CeeDee Lamb, he may keep a low profile. He is a lurker. CeeDee Lamb hears everything. He has rabbit ears. He has his, he doesn't have a burner account. He has a Twitter account, and he's checking it more than he's actually posting on it. He's checking it often. He's like Santa. He's checking his list. He's checking it twice. He's hearing what people are saying. He's not oblivious to what the national media is saying, the local media is saying, how the fans have been saying for the better part of this season, how, it's to your point, this is George Pickens' show. Hell, if we're going to trade somebody, trade CeeDee Lamb and pay George Pickens. And I think in his head, he's not jealous of the production that George Pickens is having. I think he's trying to match it. And instead of him just being himself and just letting the game come to him, he's trying to make every catch as spectacular as what George is doing. And I think that's why you see him making what to me are routine catches. Like, he's not dropping things that you'd be like, oh, wow, yeah, that's a tough catch. No, he's dropping things you would think the average NFL level wide receiver should be catching, not something that the elites should be dropping. And I just think he is in this headspace where at every turn he's looking to the other side, and here's this dude leaping over people and doing all the crazy stuff and all that.
You got mossed.
All of that, right? And I'm like, I'm seeing him doing things like he's wearing the shiesty mask now, and I'm just like, I'm like, oh, wait a second. It's one thing to kind of do something with your boy, but are you trying to become him, or are you like sometimes you gotta look in the mirror and go, I'm CeeDee Lamb. Like, be that confident. I think he was a confident person in training camp when he made the statement, like, I'm him, until he's starting to see it now. And I don't know if there's ever been a time in CeeDee Lamb's career where he's been the man and had someone of that equal to or greater talent than him kind of almost push him in a way. Because even when Amari was here, he was ascending. He hadn't quite gotten to that point where it was, I'm him. And I think now he's battling these inner kind of mental demons of, I'm trying to match the production because I hear what the people are saying. I see how the love is gravitating over this way. I hear how the owner is talking, the coach is talking, and the quarterback is talking. And those used to be my praise and my flowers and my love. And right now, I ain't quite getting that. And it's, I think it's giving him some sort of mental yips, so to speak. And while he's not performing too, because again, the passes that he's dropping, I'm looking at it and I'm going, I know CD can make that catch. He knows he can make that catch, but it's just, it's eating away at him a little bit. And again, I'm not saying that he's jealous of George. I truly believe that he's happy for George.
Oh yeah.
I think he's having an internal battle with himself of trying to raise his productivity to match George so that he doesn't feel left behind as this thing is, I don't even know what it's going to materialize to, whether it's the victories or the adulation or the praise. I don't know what that would all bring about, but I think he's battling. Maybe he needs to talk to a sports psychologist, but he's having some mental battles, I believe.
Shouts out to anybody that loves hip hop. I'm gonna go in the Wayback Machine, second to none. They were a group from the West Coast. They rock with DJ Quick. They had a song called "Be True to Yourself," and everything that you're saying, there could be some truth to that. But at the end of the day, while I love the connection that those two have, CD, you got to be CD. Be 88. Be the person that came from OU wearing number 2 that snatched the cell phone back from his girlfriend on draft night. Be him, okay? Be him. So let's pause that for a second because I do love the combination of these two. Anybody, again, that loves hip-hop, they're like as close as Raekwon and Ghostface from the Wu-Tang Clan or Method Man and Redman. They built this kinship that I love. But let's just focus on George Pickens for a second because every week, number 3 is a treat. I'll say it again, a hell of a return on investment for a 3rd and the 5th round pick, the most reliable pass catcher for the Cowboys this season. He has made himself a home in Dallas. And check this, because I saw this and I was like, oh, hold on, play, because we know the numbers. 9 catches, 9 targets, no drops, $146, a touchdown. But he had more receiving yards than the entire Philadelphia Eagles receiving corps. Now, I mean, just put that in perspective. We know AJ is a dog. We know we have a Heisman Trophy winner. But one man that wears number 3, he outperformed those guys on Sunday.
Listen, I don't know what or how more high praise that I can give George Pickens. He has been, as you said, as advertised. This might be, and again, in a single season for that type of, for 3rd round pick, you're getting, because Amari was traded for a 1st round pick, right? So like you expected that level of return from him. He was going to be someone who you really targeted because of the assets that you gave away to get him. I don't know that there's been a return on an investment like George Pickens has given. I mean, I don't remember the numbers that they sent because they signed Deion in free agency, correct? Was that free? Or they traded for Deion?
Nah, they signed Prime free agency, 5-year deal, $35 million.
So I don't, like I'm saying, like as far as a trade, I don't know. I mean, of course, yes, the Herschel Walker trade, right?
Right. I mean, so let's put it in perspective because obviously there's been bigger trades, but when it comes to a trade of value, when you're
Right.
talking about a pick that we know that draft capital is so important, but usually when you see a higher pick, you expect more. But a third and a five, that's reasonable. I don't think that you have pound for pound a better return on investment that we've seen so far.
Yeah, from a third and a fifth, I think they were even expecting like, okay, it's gonna be a nice addition. He'll have 700-800 yards, and he'll have about 6-7 touchdowns. He'll be a red zone threat, and we'll be able to use him down. I don't think that they thought that they were going to get this monster, right? I don't think I don't believe that they thought this was truly going to be the outcome that we're 10 games in, 11 games in, and he's already over 1,000 yards. He's
Right.
he surpassed a lot of his own career high marks and receptions and yards, and soon I'm almost positive by the end of the year he'll reach his touchdown highest touchdown mark. So
Right. Yeah, but let's just break it down and just to put it in perspective. And this is not to dump on my man Mingo, whoever we haven't really seen a lot from. Jonathan Mingo was traded for a fourth round pick, so that just kind of puts it in perspective when you think about a third and a fifth or a fourth, the compensation and the return on it. And by the way, Pickens career high 67 catches so far this season. He's already surpassed or set a new career high in touchdown receptions, and he's just 85 yards short of setting a new career high in receiving yards. So the numbers are going to be there, and that man is going to get paid.
And this is going to be a very interesting conversation, Ro. And the reason I say that because at this rate, I mean, you're talking about this man may end up somewhere around 13, 14, maybe 1,500 yards. 75, 80 catches. He'll be in double digits.
Wait. Hold on. You said 75. He's at 67 right now.
Oh, so yeah. So it'll be 80, 85 somewhere around there, maybe 90.
He might get 100 the way it's looking. I'm not. I don't want to be the person.
That's a lot. I mean, you at that point in time, you got to average about 10 the rest of the way. So I mean, that's a lot. That's.
He had 9 grabs, and with number 88 having the drop, you never know. But continue.
Yeah. So the conversation, like every week, he adds another million to the number, right? Because he's playing so well, and David Mulugeta is not going to take a team-friendly deal. He's going to want George Pickens to get that level of pay, but the Cowboys, they're going to be dangling that franchise tag. And, there's going to be public pressure on the Cowboys to keep him at all costs, but there also is going to be the financial battle that Jerry Jones will fight internally with himself. Because if we're talking about him being a number one, guess what? He's going to say, I want number one money. And they're going to say, well, we just paid a guy number one money. And they're going to say, and I became the number one here. They're not going to care about what happened 5 years ago. They're going to say, when I got here, I turned into this. And I'm going to want what number one receivers get. And that's going to be talking about 34, 35, $36 million a year. And I don't know. Now, if he signs a long-term deal, the cap number comes way down because that number can be pushed apart, right? Pushed down the road. The real cash flow that the Cowboys have to come up with, the cash flow they got to deal with up front. I don't know if they're going to want to pay that cost. I don't know if they're going to look out there and say we have a $60 million quarterback and now we have $60, $70 million because if CD's 34 and he wants 34, 35, 36, then they're going to have $70 million at their receiving core. Woo! Right?
Right.
That's the part when I'm like, here's where that off season, they're going to say, well, we're going to franchise you. Now the flip side of that is 28. If you franchise them, $28 million goes on the cap that day. So that money is already assigned. There's $28 million that is gone. And that eats up because, again, long-term deal, that money goes to $6 million, right? As a cap hit. A franchise tag is 28 that day. So it's going to be a very, very interesting conversation. Joel Corey, who was a former NFL agent and now kind of a media pundit, he put out a tweet today and he was like, George Pickens is probably going to franchise whether he likes it or not, and he broke down the numbers of why, and it makes sense. It makes sense, and I know that down the road, and I'm looking down the road, but at this rate, it's going to be a conversation that will be had, and this could get ugly in the offseason between George Pickens and his representation. And if you know one thing about George Pickens, he don't give a damn. George Pickens don't give a damn. You can tell by the way he plays. They're down 21-0. George Pickens catch a big play. He's still doing celebrations. George Pickens don't give a damn. When it comes down to him getting his cheddar, I don't think he'll be looking around saying, yeah, nah, he gonna look at CD and be like, don't tell me to take a team-friendly deal because you didn't. Don't tell me to take a team-friendly deal because you didn't. Don't nobody tell me to take a team-friendly deal because y'all didn't when it was y'all turn to get paid. And I don't think either one of those dudes will either. They'll be like, get paid, young fella, get paid. But he's gonna want to get that check.
Shouts out to Young Dog right there. I see what you did there. George Pickens, 15 catches this season, 20 yards or more, always ready to make those chunk plays, the big body target with a great catching radius that Dak loves. Speaking of Dak, you got to give it up to him because he did his thing, becoming the all-time leader in passing yards in Cowboys franchise history. Not only that, he goes to 7-1 facing the Philadelphia Eagles at home, 19 straight wins versus the ops in the division. Hey, not to mention 300 yards, 3 total touchdowns, diving in the end zone, looking like the Dak that we remember from Mississippi State when he was a Bulldog, toting that thing. Your impressions of Dak and the victory that he led the Cowboys to?
Dog. Didn't start out well. Had the interception in the end zone, but you talk about the resiliency from Dak Prescott, and he said it. I never blinked, and it showed. It didn't look like he blinked. Good play, bad play, next play, and he willed his team to victory. And every play that he needed to make in the second half, he made. He made some big throws. He made some big runs. And this is something I'm going to continue to stand on when it comes to Dak Prescott. The most helpful thing, and maybe the most under radar thing that Dak Prescott has done this season is this man has been Houdini in the pocket. And everybody's going to say, oh, Terrence Steele didn't give up this and so-and-so didn't give up that. Go turn on the film. The way that this joker is moving around in that pocket and getting his linemen off the hook from getting beat and giving up some, he has been that might be the most impressive thing of his this season. I mean, it is elite level pocket mobility, awareness, functionality. The way he's moving in this pocket and buying time and delivering the ball in the pocket when things aren't being really good around him. That to me, when I watch him as a player, that has been the biggest growth that he has had. He has figured out a way to keep himself alive, to keep his offense alive. And they're so subtle. Like it's not this big thing that you're gonna be like, oh my God. It's the rush is happening and his tackle's getting beat up the field, and he takes a slight up and over, which now the defender has to stop. And now his tackle gets back on the block. And it saves him from being beat, and he delivers the ball. And everybody's like, oh, yeah, good play. I'm like, nah, that tackle was beat. Watch Dak move up. But watch this subtle movement that allowed his tackle to get back on the block. And it's that level of just, I've been calling it David Blaine in the pocket because it's been magician-like.
Right.
It's truly been magician Houdini-like in the pocket. And that, to me, has been phenomenal.
10 decades in, they talk about you need over 10,000 hours to become a master. He's definitely that Jedi master when it comes down to it. The 10-year veteran moving around in the pocket, playing like an MVP. Dak deserves his flowers. Slow clap for Dak. But I'm going to continue this slow clap as we continue with Believe in Cowboys, presented by FanDuel. Ro Paris, Jesse Holley. Slow clap for Matt. I'm talking about Matt Eberflus. Yes, the much maligned defensive coordinator. Folks are calling for his job. They got the memes out there. This dude got 5 new toys, and all of a sudden, he's like, yo, let's make some noise. There's momentum in the Metroplex. They got timely stops when they needed. They forced the Eagles out, 5 different times. They got 2 takeaways, held Saquon to a season-low 22 yards. Oakley gets a sack, a second-half shutout. How impressed are you by this defense that everybody was laughing at just a month ago?
I am it's funny that you said Matt Eberflus, because there probably wasn't a man more happy running up and down that sideline during that game than Matt Eberflus. You could see the relief that's slowly coming over him of, man, I live to see one more day, because when they went down 21-0, everyone was like, that sorry bleepity bleep 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 Matt Eberflus. They were ready to get rid of him at halftime. And
right.
That defense showed up and showed out. But I give some credit to Matt Eberflus. Yes, I do. Matt Eberflus has said to the world, here's what I'm going to do. Quinnen Williams, welcome, and you're not coming off the field. You're not coming off the field. Outside of defensive backs and safeties, nobody had played more snaps in the front 7 than Quinnen Williams. Matt Eberflus has said, you 3 dudes in the middle, Quinnen, Kenny, and Osa. Quinnen played 46 snaps, Osa played 42 snaps, and Kenny played 40 snaps. Y'all not coming off the field. I'm going to rotate everybody else except you 3 monsters. And he is committed to that front 5-man front. And he has said, we are going 5-man front. And we are, because basically what that does, it goes one-on-one with the opposing offensive line. And it's basically said, Quinnen, you eat, and everyone is eating off of Quinnen. So kudos to Eberflus for saying, this is what we're doing. I ain't doing nothing else. I'm doing all this. I will say a small little kind of pause of the Cowboys still better figure out how to cover in the back end. Okay? They still better figure out how to cover in the back end. That ain't shored up. That's still leaky. That's still very leaky in the back end. And now, and I say that because just kind of give you a little bit of football 101, right? Let's just do simple math. 5-man front. 11 people play on defense, right? 11 people play on defense, 5-man front. That leaves 6 other defenders. You're playing a zone with 2 high shells. So there we go. 2 cornerbacks, 2 safety. That's 4. 4 plus 5 gives you 9. That means you only have 2 positions left, and you're going on the field with 2 linebackers. What are you going to do when teams start going 11 personnel? Because you've committed to going basically to a 5-2.
Hold up. While you're giving your lesson, spell out what 11 personnel is just real quick.
Yep.
While you break
11
it down.
personnel. 1 running back, 1 tight end, 3 wide receivers. So always think about it's going to equal to 5 with the skill position dudes. 11 personnel. It starts with the back. First number always goes to the back. 1 back. Second number are tight ends. 1 tight end. And that means 3 gives you 5 skill guys, 5 offensive linemen, 1 quarterback, 11. Right? So that's 11 players right there. But that's 11 personnel. So defensively, if you're going to have 2 linebackers in there and the offense is going 11 personnel, that means one of those linebackers are going to be responsible to trying to carry a wide receiver. And I say that because the Kansas City Chiefs are primarily an 11 personnel team. They go 1 back, which whether it's Pacheco if he's healthy or Kareem Hunt. They go 1 tight end, which is Travis Kelce. And then they go 3 wide receivers. They go Juju, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy. So now you have to make a decision. You say, all right, Xavier Worthy's probably going to be in the slot, or Juju's going to be in the slot. If I bring a nickel back in, that means I'm having one linebacker. Now that linebacker has to be a bona fide, surefire tackler. Because if just so happened, if 5 dudes block their 5 dudes, that means Kareem Hunt and your linebacker, because everyone else is going out to their zone. So I say all that to say, if that's going to be your base, you're going to have to figure out a way or how you're going to play that, because when you start playing, the next 2 opponents are 11 personnel heavy teams in Kansas City and Detroit. So kudos to Matt Eberflus for figuring out a way to stop the running game with that 5-man front, but it only gets tougher because now you have to evolve the 5-man front into something else when you have to go and play against an 11 personnel team.
No, I think we're going to find out a lot in the Cowboys as we prepare for the Thanksgiving game with the Kansas City Chiefs, because clearly we know the Raiders, they ain't like that. They just fired their offensive coordinator, Brian Kelly. He's out of there. So we know what they're about. But then you come to Philadelphia. Clearly, Saquon Barkley probably should have been the MVP last season. I'll just put it out there. I know the MVP is a quarterback award now, but seeing everything everything he did last season, should have been MVP. Not having a great season, but still, he's still Saquon Barkley. Yeah. And the Cowboys managed to keep him in check with everything. But now you have a different beast. Now we see the Kansas City Chiefs in all their greatness. We know what they've done. However, they haven't been that this season, but they're starting to come around and gain momentum. And like I said, this is going to be the ultimate test right now as the season continues.
Yeah, absolutely, man. This upcoming game against Kansas City Chiefs, they win this game, and you turn the NFL on their heads, because now people start looking at it, and it's unfortunately though, Ro, it's still a long shot. You beat the Chiefs and you changed the fortune a little bit, but you need help from so many other people to get to a place in time where you might be able to make the playoffs, because you may do all this and get to the end of the year and still not get in because of the hole that you dug yourself into. But hey, listen, the only way to devour an elephant is one bite at a time. And so this one, they took care of business against the Philadelphia Eagles when a lot of us, myself included, when they went down 21-0, was like, God damn, this over. This over. You know, they had a good run. You know what I mean? But this is what happens, and yada, yada, yada. And they said, nah, Jess, not yet. We ain't dead yet. Which, by the way, I appreciate that, Cowboys, because when you guys keep winning, it's good for business. That's why I always tell people, I want the Cowboys to win. It's good for business.
Absolutely.
And when business is good, the roof over my head gets paid for. And that's important to me. So I want them to go out there and win this game against Kansas City, because, boy, happy people are watching people. And that matters for people like you and I, bro.
No question. Again, it is Believe in Cowboys. We appreciate you all for listening, liking, and subscribing. All brought to you by FanDuel. Looking at the early Vegas numbers, Kansas City's favored to come on the road. They're favored by 3 right now to come and beat the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday. Of course, that number could change as we get closer to Thursday. Another thing I want to talk about is because obviously this team has gone through a lot. We've seen the trades, we've seen the tragedy, and we see them come back for the first home game since the untimely passing of Marshawn Nealon. And I look at all the emotion. And of course, early you could say, well, I guess that's out the door, but they figured out a way to fight. And when it's all said and done, again, you got to give Shotty his due, because being in the first year as a head coach, even though he's been in the league for 30 plus years, this is still his first time being the head guy in charge. He has handled every situation. There's been a couple of low moments here and there, but for the most part, he has handled being the head coach for the first time for the Dallas Cowboys, which is a different job all in itself, but he has handled it admirably every step.
He has. Now, I will say for Shotty, less brain farts during the game, though, right? Like, let's not get cute. And I get it. Like, you want to, let's stop. Let's stop with some of the cuteness.
Take the points. Take the points.
Oh, my God. Like, let's stop playing around and don't tell me you want to be physical. We get to the 1-inch line and you want to pass the ball and all that. Nah, brother. Turn around. Javonte going forward. Okay? Javonte go forward. But yes, to your point, Shotty has done a wonderful job in just managing it. And that's part of a lot of time, especially with the Dallas Cowboys, it's managing the chaos. It's managing the talent. It's managing life with your owner being the biggest public figure in sports. And so to do all of that, and mind you, now you're 5-5-1, so you're back at at sea level. But it's a lot, and you talk about when you got hired, people thought you weren't supposed to be the head coach. You had to deal with that. Then as you're getting through the whole deal of learning this whole thing out, and then you lose your best player on defense, arguably one of the best players in the league. By the way, I don't see many people talking about that whole James Houston has more sacks than the other guy in Wisconsin. I'm just saying. But Shotty, then you move on from that and you have to adjust. And then the season doesn't quite start out the way that you wanted it. And you take an L opening night and kind of you're figuring your way through, and then you deal with injuries. CeeDee Lamb goes down, and they're asking for you to fire your defensive coordinator. You have a historically bad defense for the better part of the early part of the season. Hell, almost up until the trade deadline, you have a historically bad defense. People are starting to question you. Then, to your point, Ro, you have the untimely passing of a player, which is in the way that it happened is very, very unusual. He has handled this the best that he's possibly could, and right now he has the Cowboys at 500. And with that, we have 6 more games. It was 6 more games to go during the season. I mean, you got to give him a little bit of credit because this thing could have gone a lot worse. And he's handled it. He's handled it with a level of decency and grace and gratitude, but also a level of confidence that, I am the man for the job.
Nah, he definitely is the man for the job. There were a lot of people, including myself, that were like, wait, what? When he got hired, clearly looking back, it was the right hire for this team right now in this moment, and it's paying dividends right now as the Cowboys sit at 5-5, back in the conversation of the playoffs, which wasn't even a thought a couple of weeks ago. We are Believing Cowboys. Jesse Holly, Ro Parrish, presented by FanDuel, coming to you, and we appreciate you for showing us love on this show. But man, Shotty, I got to give it up. I haven't really spent a lot of time with Shotty, but just the little amount of time I was around him for training camp, he just had a different vibe about him altogether. I mean, good energy, got a little swag. You got to love a coach that keeps the heat on his feet. He stays rocking the J's. He got the visor. Like, he has his signature look, but he carries himself in a certain way where it's like, okay, if I'm a player, that's a guy who I want to run through a wall through. I want to follow him into battle on the field.
And it seems that the guys do. It seems like he's come in and he is won over the locker room. And that's part of the battle right there, that you have to get the guys that you're leading to believe in you, to believe in what you say, your message, your cause, your culture, everything. Because you get one guy who has enough power in the locker room to not believe in you, and he gonna bring the rest of those guys with him, right? But you get the right guy or guys that say, yo, this guy's really, he let's follow him. And now, to your point, you get that level of love and respect, and you get the guys to run through the wall. And it's been battle tested a little bit this season because of the way that they haven't been able to be successful in the win column. So that part has already been tested about, losing the locker room and guys looking at you sideways and guys being like, you really ain't the guy. Like, we heard what they said, but now you ain't the guy. But they've stuck beside him. I'm gonna stick beside him. They've stuck beside him and just continue to chop wood and had his back. And Shotty has and I will say this: I've liked the fact that Shotty has talked about competition, and you've seen it. You've seen guys have to go out there and compete. You've seen guys get benched. You've seen guys come in, come out, and he's just not giving playing time away. He's not giving jerseys away on game day. The guys have to go out there and earn them, and that is so respected in locker rooms that a guy can know, you know what, if I do the right thing like they say and ask me to do, then I really do have an opportunity to potentially, you ain't taking Dak off the field. I don't give a damn what you do in practice. Right? You could Joe Milton. You can set yourself on fire, okay, and do all the little ninja flips all you want. Ain't no you ain't gonna be able to compete enough in your life to take Dak off the field. So that I ain't talking about that level of stuff. George, and I don't care how y'all feel about CD, and Flournoy and Mingo and the rest of the crew. Y'all can't do enough in the field that's gonna be able to get you in a competition battle with CD Lamb. It ain't happening. But
it ain't.
For the rest of the guys, for the others of the worlds, there are opportunities for you to go out there and compete and earn your stripes.
That's hilarious. Now I will say this: there's not a competition, but Shotty has showed that he will discipline you when it comes to you being tardy or not being somewhere you're supposed to be, because we saw that in Vegas when his 2 top pass catchers were sitting on the bench for the first possession. That was the ultimate punishment.
I don't believe it. If CD was late to the game and so late to the game yesterday, they would have set out that first period. I'm just saying. It was the perfect storm. They they acted up and they probably even knew they acted up in the right moment, because they're like, even if they do benches for a quarter or series or whatever, it's the Raiders. We can probably handle beating the Raiders without us for a series or 2. I don't know if Shotty would have done that, because let's be honest, he said it publicly. He's like, yeah, George has been late. He gonna probably be late. That's what we had to deal with. George ain't the first time George was late, okay, or missed something. This has happened before. I guess he finally was like, I guess I gotta do something. But like the great Jimmy Johnson said, everybody gets treated fairly, but not everyone gets treated the same. And that's just the nature of the business. You produce at the level that George produces, you get to be a little bit tardy to the party sometimes.
Yeah, George, maybe CD, went to bed a little bit too early. Maybe he should have stayed up and been late. But anyway, we'll leave all that. Let's get back to business.
I will say, this is a little messy. People was online all night long talking about something. Yeah, we know he can hold his liquor, but he can't hold the football. I was like, damn, boy. I said, damn, y'all are hell, boy. Y'all don't
wow.
give no leeway.
Man, that is hilarious. Man, it's Believe It Cowboys. We like to have fun. We keep it a buck right here. All presented by FanDuel. Now, I need to know this because we're looking at this tough stretch. They've already entered it so far. Looking good against the Philadelphia Eagles. They get the victory. But teams look at games, they look at the schedule one game at a time. We're a little bit different because we're not on the team. So I need to know when we're looking at it, because so far you got the Raiders, the Giants, Commanders, and Jets. Then the Cowboys finally beat a team with a winning record in the Philadelphia Eagles. So has your perspective changed at all looking at the remainder of the schedule? I know you said, 9-7, or was it 7? Somewhere in there. Do you see that win total increasing now that you've seen this version of the Cowboys?
I gotta see one more, bro.
Okay, that's fair.
I gotta see one more. You beat Kansas City, and now it's up. Now it's up. You beat Kansas City, now anything's possible. Now I'm looking at that like maybe they can run the table, right? Like you beat Kansas City because it's like, what team is going to show up against Kansas City? Second half team, first half team. You give Kansas City a 21-point head start. I don't like Philly got complacent. Philly's offense isn't the Philly offense is so they still running the 1989 offense. It's crazy. I don't believe if you spot the Kansas City Chiefs 21 points, you're coming back. I just don't believe that, because Andy's not taking his foot off the gas. And you can't force his quarterback to throw. Like they just said, Jalen Hurts, beat us with your arm, right? And Jalen Hurts couldn't, because that offense is so crazy and boring, and he's not a good – you challenge Patrick Mahomes to do that, you're going to lose by 40. You know what I'm saying? So but if you beat Kansas City, now I'm on. Now I'm like your man Dion. Do you believe now? Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely, for sure.
Right. Checking in with FanDuel. It appears the number appears to be 9 because I'm looking at it 8+ wins for the regular season right now. They're saying -190. So 10+ wins is +550. So it appears Vegas thinks that the Cowboys win total is going to be somewhere in the 9-game range. We don't know how it's going to shape up. That could put them in position to maybe sneak in the playoffs. The way the NFC is looking, I don't know right now. When you go through it, when you have the Eagles, when you have the Rams, the Seahawks, Tampa Bay, you can go through a list of everybody. It might be tough to slip in there, but the way they're playing right now, they do have a chance.
Yeah, they do. They do. Absolutely. Again, that second half team showed up. The first half team, leave them whatever the hell they need to get left at. Bring the second half unit of the Cowboys in the first half of the Kansas City game. And this is going to be an interesting matchup. Right now, looking at that Kansas City matchup, both teams will be without a starting offensive lineman. Trey Smith, for them, he'll be out with an ankle injury, high and low ankle sprain, and reports are coming out of Dallas that Tyler Guyton will be out with an ankle sprain as well. So that insert Nate Thomas into the mix. So I don't know what's offensive line, will be the biggest loss for a team, but they'll be without, both teams will be out of starting linemen heading into this game on Thursday on a short week.
Short week for a short week. We see how it goes. We know the Cowboys are used to these types of schedule changes, but that offensive line is also important. And you touched on it, Dak, with that footwork, with that hip movement. He should be ready to go either way, playing at an MVP level. And one thing I want to throw in, just completely off the board, I thought that this was a joke. I saw this was on the internet, but and this is a programming, because we like to talk about all things Cowboys. Hard Knocks, NFC East premieres December 2nd. And I saw this and I thought it was some AI, but apparently the cameras are going to be there. So I'm looking forward to seeing this conference with so many different storylines happening, how they're going to cover it. Is there any moment from Hard Knocks that you remember that sticks out over any team over the 20+ years they've been doing it that you remember that stands out?
Yeah, the one that stands out, I don't know if you remember this one where it was the Rams. Jeff Fisher was the head coach. And he cut a young man because the young man had the girl come into the room at the hotel. And there was a no girl in your room policy. It was interesting to me because that young man, Dion Long, I believe his name was, I trained him. And I remember telling him in training, I said, son, you don't love football. I literally told him this. Like, what you mean? I said, you love what football brings. You don't love this game. You want to blow up in this game so that you can have all of the glitz and the glam and the honeys and the cars and the jewels, but you don't love this game. And I'm like, it's not going to end. I told him it's not going to end well for you. Oh, you hate. I said, I've been around long enough. I've seen your type. And boy, when that happened, I said, this is what you wanted to do. You wanted to get honeys and you thought you were smarter than the system. You thought that you could outsmart an age-old system was been in place for years. Again, everyone gets treated fairly. Not everyone gets treated the same. Had you been a star on that team, because I've been on teams. I've been on teams where I've seen Ocho Cinco when I was in Cincinnati. When he wanted to have a female guest, he made it happen. When I was in Dallas and Kim Kardashian and Miles Austin was dating, the pink Range Rover was parked outside in Oxnard, California, in the Residence Inn where we stay at. But you ain't him. And so that was what I always took. I remember because I said, man, I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. He never got back in the league and never did anything in the NFL again. And I remember that moment because I was like, this is so on brand for that young man.
Man, that's hilarious. Yeah, Hard Knocks, that's something that Jerry Jones loves. It's not a shock that the Dallas Cowboys have the most appearances among all NFL teams on Hard Knocks. So I'm looking forward to seeing what drama unfolds behind the scenes. And listen, we love sports. There's a reason why we sit here. Obviously, we're compensated to a certain extent, but we still have a love for the game itself watching it from an entertainment perspective, but also we missed that aspect of being in the locker room. You were in the locker room at the highest level. I was able to have multiple times being in the locker room as a player in my younger days. Didn't play pro, of course, and then even getting older, being able to go in locker rooms and have relationships with guys. So that's just a major part of the game that we all love and that we do miss.
Oh, no, man, listen, people ask me all the time, what do you miss about the game? What do you miss about the game? I don't miss playing. I don't. Not at all. Not even close. I miss the checks. Being honest. Just being honest. Not too many places you get to get paid the way we got paid legally every week.
Right.
But there's nothing that I miss more than the locker room. There's nothing. And you cannot explain it. Where that locker room was such a great place, and it was people from all walks of life, all religions, all creeds, all colors, all ethnic backgrounds, all everything, and you came together, and you all had a common goal. But there was things that happened in the locker room, like anything can turn into a competition. You know what I mean? And you're going to see things in the locker room or around the locker room that you're not going to see anywhere else at no other time. Stories for days that happen for guys and the love and the jokes and that place, man, was something that you can try as hard as you want to replicate it. And that's what guys miss the most when they're done playing. It's that locker room. It's the relationships. It's the conversations. It's the laughter, the jokes, the inside jokes, the team playing, the hotels, the position meetings, dinner nights, and all that kind of stuff, man. You don't get that anywhere else. There's no other job where you're gonna get that level of camaraderie that you get in the locker room, and I miss that. That is a ghost that you will forever chase once you leave the locker room. That unfortunately that you can chase it, but you'll never get it unless you're back in that locker room.
Believe in Cowboys is what it is. Jesse Holly dropping the knowledge, taking us into a trip, pulling back the curtain behind the locker room. And man, it's great. It's great. I miss those days. But like you said, I don't want to play no more, dog. I don't want to put on no pads, no helmet. I don't want to put on. I'm good.
I hit my hip on the side of the island in the kitchen 2 days ago. Hip still hurt. Hip still hurt. I hit on the side of the island 2 days ago. I'm like, God, dog, I need 2 days to bump the island and all.
Yeah. No, we gotta send you to the trainer, man. We gotta send you to the trainer.
Yeah. Send me to the trainer, man. I need to get out there with Britt Brown and them on the ropes or something, because
right. So yeah, we're a week away. Hard Knocks, December 2nd. Check your local listings, your streaming provider. You can check it out, and we will be back later on in the week because the Cowboys, man, it's ironic. And I said this on television here, but you have the NFL script writers who, you know how they do. They print all this stuff out before the season. So imagine the two most watched, the two most watched franchises, both coming off major dramatic wins. The Chiefs coming off an overtime win, the Cowboys, with the last second field goal, and they just happen to come together and meet on Thanksgiving with potentially Taylor Swift making an appearance with Post Malone as the halftime act and Jerry Jones right in the middle as the ringleader.
Yeah, man, this is made for Jerry Jones right here. He is going to find a way to make it about his team and his team on one of the biggest holidays of the season. So, listen, I'm thankful I get to be a part of it. And again, if the Cowboys win, that is good. That's good for business.
Agree. And what I did say is this is going to be, I need to pull up this clip and actually post it somewhere, but this game is going to be the most watched regular season game in the history of the NFL. I'm putting that out there. I said it 2 weeks ago when they announced Post Malone. I'm going to stick with that, and I'm going to put it out there so everybody knows when the record comes. I'll be like, I told you first.
You got it, because I'm with you right there. And no argument for me. It's most likely probably going to be good. It's probably going to be that.
No doubt. Hey, man. So we've had a great show. This is Believe in Cowboys. Ro Paris, Justy Howley, presented by FanDuel. Thank you for liking, subscribing, showing love. Justy, man, you see that time, man. It's time to get up out of here. Leave the people with some good words before we bounce.
If I can tell y'all anything, be like Elijah Clark in life. Because life may knock you down once. It may knock you down twice. It may knock you down a third time. Get up. Keep pushing. Keep rolling. Keep your eye on the course and on the journey and on the path. And when you get there, make a damn play. People will remember you for the rest of your life. But if you stay down, then you're just like a fool to get knocked down. Be like Elijah Clark. Go make a play in life.
Who can make a play? I can.
And remember, eliminate the contingencies.
Hey, there it is. By the way, that was a microcosm of the whole Cowboys game just on that one play.
Facts.
Facts. Hey, throw the heart up. Love, respect, and salute.